KCAL rocks. It is your Thursday and time to talk some sports with our guy Pep. And there's a lot to talk about going on right here in our own area. And I'm not talking about that earthquake last night. I'm talking about sports. Pep, what's up?
Which I missed. I was driving in my car. My kids are texting me, "Did you feel that?" Because I usually feel them all, and I'm like, "No, I'm driving in the car. I had no idea." But yeah, big football news, and not talking about the conference championship games quite yet. Patrick, I know him as Captain Comeback. You probably remember him as the same with the quarterback as the Bears and then the Colts. But in my day, he was a great quarterback, and he was known as Captain Comeback because he always brought his team back in the fourth quarter. We're talking about legendary QB Jim Harbaugh turned coach. He is now the head coach of the LA Chargers. And I forgot, Patrick, that he was actually a QB for the Lightning Bolts. At the end of his career, he finished up there. So kind of for full circle, I guess, for Jim Harbaugh.
Right. He knows he wins everywhere he goes and looks like he's coming to LA. So, I mean, I instantly think he's got Justin Herbert. He knows quarterbacks. He's going to build a powerhouse just like he does everywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, the Chargers, I don't know how many times we've said this. They're built to win right now, right? We've been saying this since we've been doing these sports updates on KCAL. Like, ooh, the Chargers could be pretty good this year. They got a great team, but they just never put it together. And Jim Harbaugh, based on his track record, has figured it out everywhere he's gone. The University of San Diego to Stanford. He made the Stanford Cardinal relevant on the national stage. Then he went to the San Francisco 49ers, led them to a Super Bowl appearance, and of course, coming off that national title at Michigan. If, history tells us he's going to win with the Chargers. Like, it's going to happen. And luckily for the Chargers, it's not a complete rebuild. He can go in there and they're going to be competitive, I would say, next year. Like, they're going to be a playoff contender right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost instantaneous. There is that pressure, but he seems to just thrive under these conditions. No longer does he have to freeze his butt off in Michigan. Now he gets to hang out in LA.
Yeah, think about it. He was a quarterback at Michigan. He coached at Michigan. He played for the Chicago Bears. Those are some cold weather cities, but he's had some success on the West Coast coaching with the 49ers, Stanford, and San Diego. And I don't know how much influence his family around him has, but come on. Southern California during the winter, it's not such a bad thing.
No, and the brothers will play. I forget what the date is, but I mean, the Chargers play the Ravens, so there's going to be another Super Bowl, if you will.
The Super Bowl, yes. I like that. Yeah, so that was the big news, really. Jim Harbaugh officially going to the Chargers to become their new head coach. There's still several teams, looking for their head coaches out there, Patrick, amongst the NFL. And one of them that was kind of interesting, Dan Quinn to Seattle is still kind of a thing, although it's not official. I don't know how close they are. But here's another wrinkle I heard. Could Chip Kelly leave UCLA to be the Seahawks offensive coordinator if Dan Quinn got the job? That was a new rumor I heard, that Chip Kelly might be making his way back to the NFL in some capacity.
Well, I mean, I know that, the Eagles weren't a totally failed experiment, at least offense-wise, and we know that the college game is really becoming more. Remember how much different the NFL offense used to be than the college offense? I could see that working. I've also heard a distant rumor about Mike Vrabel, but Dan Quinn is in Seattle today. Could that be true? I would feel better about that because Dan Quinn, even though I know the Dallas Cowboys did not look good on defense, he can handle the defense. And then he has somebody in mind, which, that's going to be the question. Who's going to run the offense, dude? Have somebody to run the offense. Could work.
Yeah, it could be Chip Kelly, right? He's an offensive guy, and I think he's done as much as he could do at UCLA, because for the Bruins, remember, they're going to the Big Ten. It's not going to get any easier. It's just going to get harder for UCLA. So this might be the perfect time to make that move.
And just like Harbaugh, just like Saban leaving Alabama, this whole new world of the portal and NIL, they don't like it.
Yeah.
That's why they've been going to the pros. That's what I've heard. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Is it good for the players? Yeah, of course it is. They're going to get a little, some chunk in their, some in their pocket. But gosh, for the coaches, this is not something they predicted, not something they want to deal with. It's just a headache. And if you can go to the NFL and bypass that, then I think you take that shot.
And really quickly, I don't want to take us too far down this road, but I thought Saban put it really well in that this new NIL and the portal, it's cut coaches' legs out from underneath them. No longer can you bench a kid, to help him in the long run because the kid will just leave and go to the portal. Before you could bench him, and he wouldn't like it, but it would be good for him in the long run. They've taken away the ability to coach. That's why I heard Saban is out.
Yeah, you can't coach and you can't build, right? I mean, it's almost like a junior college. Like the turnover is just crazy. Every year, 2 years, it's like you're cleaning house. Like guys are leaving, you're bringing guys in. It's affecting the high school recruiting because you're like, if you're a college coach, you're like, okay, let me look in the portal. Is there a guy that can play right now that I can plug in, or do I got to go and see who's available at the high school ranks and try to sign them and bring them in for the following season? So it really is a mess. Somehow they'll figure this all out and smooth it all out. But right now, if you're a college coach, you got to really love coaching college because it's a headache.
It's like Coach K had to adapt and get used to the one and done. It's like almost a similar type of thing.
It's the same thing, man. He was bringing in those guys into Duke, and they were great. They were the best players in the country. But he knew, kind of like John Calipari at Kentucky, they knew you've only got them for 1 year, and then you got to do it all over again and find another group of guys to come in for 1 year.
They used to attack Coach Cal, and they found out he was just ahead of his time.
Yeah. No. Yeah, they used to be like, yeah, you're right. They thought he was like, what are you doing? This isn't right. It's bad for college basketball. But that was the formula to win. He knew, okay, if I want the best of the best of the best, they're only coming here for 1 year and then it's to the NBA. So I'm going to get the best, and we're going to win right now. And then I'm going to recruit my butt off in the offseason and do it all over again.
I knew I was going to send us down this route hole. He did say it in a very funny way. He said, well, is it about education or is it about jobs?
Yeah.
Because I can get him a job.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And a high-paying job in the NBA. So, all right. So let's move on. Oh, the other quick thing, too, it went under the radar coaching news-wise was the Raiders keeping Antonio Pierce. He came in as an interim basis, did pretty well. The players loved him. So it was kind of a no-brainer for the Raiders to just lock him in as the head coach.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now to the playoff matchups. And as we get closer to the Super Bowl, which will actually be in Las Vegas, speaking of the Raiders, it'll be in Las Vegas February 11th. The conference championship games, it'll be the 49ers, the top seed in the NFC, hosting the Detroit Lions, who have never played in the Super Bowl. I think people are saying that the Lions are the new America's team. Sorry, Dallas, but could Detroit be America's team now? Because they've been bad for so long. People want to see them win.
The Motor City is back on the map, and maybe Jared Goff's Super Bowl experience is kind of helping him in this. I actually think this is going to be a really good game.
Yeah, I mean, you have to forget the stereotype of the Detroit Lions and remember that they are a really good team. They're not the Lions of old. They're legit. And offensively, you're right. They've got a really great offense, but they're pretty young across the board. Jared Goff is kind of like the veteran, the old guy in the clubhouse. And he's the one that's probably going to, if they're going to get over the hump, which I really hope they don't because I'm a 49ers fan. But if they get over the hump, he's probably going to be the reason why offensively they can put points on the board.
He has been playing amazing. And I know we talked about this off air. The weather is looking good in Santa Clara. So that is good for both quarterbacks. I could see a shootout.
Yeah, especially for my guy Brock Purdy, it's evident he does not like the weather. He does not like the rain. He has a hard time, dealing with, the slippery ball, go with a glove, go with no glove. So this might benefit maybe Brock Purdy more than Jared Goff. But remember, Detroit plays in a dome, and they had that stigma that they couldn't play outside of Detroit or not in a dome because they did not do well in outdoor or grass stadiums. They weren't built for that. So I don't know. There's a lot of factors. Deebo Samuel's hurt. Will he play? Like there's so many factors in this game.
I think kind of the weak spot is this is advantage 49ers. I believe, just like you said, Brock Purdy is going to take advantage, I think, of the Detroit secondary, which is kind of the weak spot here.
Hey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk was kind of quiet last week. I'd love to see him pop off against the Lions. So, yeah, that's a great point, Patrick. So that's the NFC Championship game. The AFC Championship game is the Ravens at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. This one feels like a heavyweight fight. Now, I'm definitely going to watch the 49ers because that's my team. But this really is the game that everybody is salivating over.
What a classic battle. I mean, for me, this year is Lamar's chance. Can he do it? And he's done very well. He's been very efficient this year. He hasn't been, throwing it off the charts numbers, but he's always dangerous because he is that new age quarterback, kind of like our Heisman winner, Jaden Daniels. Yeah. If he can't throw it, he can run it. So we'll see what happens. I think the Ravens will just barely win because of their defense and because of Lamar. But I think it's like you said, these games are going to be great.
I want the 49ers to win, and I want the Ravens to win. Just because the 49ers, I want to see that rematch because they got embarrassed on Christmas. I want to see that rematch against Baltimore. Plus, also, I don't want to see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl because, man, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, they've made the Chiefs unlikable. They're almost polarizing now. If you like the Chiefs, if you're a Chiefs fan, you love the Chiefs. But otherwise, I think a lot of people want to see the Chiefs lose because they're unlikable now.
Yeah, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists, too, that the NFL is going to make sure to have Taylor at the Super Bowl. So we'll see what happens.
I hope you're wrong. All right, Patrick, let's finish up on a pep quiz on this morning. We talked about the Lions have never made it to the Super Bowl. They're the only NFC team to have never reached the Super Bowl. But there's 3 teams in the AFC that have never played in the Super Bowl. Do you know what those 3 teams are that have never made it to the final game?
Man, what a good question that is.
1 old team and 2 younger teams.
Yeah, well, I'd have to think it's got to be something like the Jaguars.
See?
Jaguars. And then, God, an old AFC team is the Browns.
Browns.
And then I can't think of who's left. Who's left, Pat?
It's your boy, C.J. Stroud from the Kook and the Houston Texans, who might be knocking on the door of a Super Bowl in the future. Who knows? But yeah, Texans, Jags, and the Browns. 3 teams that have never made it to the Super Bowl from the AFC.
There's your 3 teams right there. Maybe C.J. Stroud, our IE guy, can change that.
You know what? They're going in the right direction. Nobody thought they would do what they did this year, so they're obviously trending up.
Man, what a wild weekend it will be. I cannot wait to talk to Pep on Monday once everything falls down and we find out who's in the Super Bowl matchup. Pep, tell them how to get your stuff.
You can get my stuff anytime. That's Inland Sports. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, also called X, and also on the Inland Sports YouTube channel. You can check us out. That is Inland Sports.
Calling it X is so weird. Thanks, Pep.